He was an atheist or agnostic when he was doing his PhD work, when he was in his 20s or in his 30s. Today he is a believer, and he mentions in his book that his work in Human Genome Project and genetics helped him. This one. One of the things is this. You see, scientists have found that there is in an average human body there are 100 trillion cells. 100 trillion cells. That means 1 followed by 14 zeros. 1 followed by 14 zeros. That many cells are there. And in each cell, each cell there is a nucleus and there is a DNA. And in each DNA has got 3.1 billion base units. 1 billion is 1 followed by 9 zeros. So 1 followed by 14 zeros plus, and you have to add, since we are in this this thing, then you add, then it's 1 followed by 14 plus 9, 23 zeros. That many base units are there. And in each base unit has got about 100 atoms or 100 atoms. It's base unit because base is a huge molecule, 100 atoms. And each atom has got so many particles there. Now, imagine in a human body how many particles are there. And all of them are dynamic bodies. They are all moving. All these things are moving. And all these things are be coordinated. Their movement has been coordinated to keep you and me, in the normal stage, so that I can speak to you in a sensible way, and you can understand me in a sensible way. All these have to be coordinated. And some of the scientists call in and asking, how is this coordination done? Who in the world is responsible for this? This is called fine-tuned universe is another way of doing fine-tuned universe. They began thinking about this, and they said, it's a mystery. Now they are putting it as a mystery. And Collins says, in this mystery, I surrender. That's the type of word he uses. I surrender before this mystery. And this is how he found God. Same way you find in astronomy. I have not mentioned here. Astronomy, Alan Sandage, British astronomer. And he is an astronomer, so he worked with astronomy. He also was like Collins in his 20s, when he was 20s and 30s, that is years of age, was an agnostic or an atheist. Today he is a believer, he says. Okay, now the scientists have found 100 billion galaxies are there in our universe. 100 billion. 1 followed by billion means 11 zeros. Billion means 100 billion. And then each galaxy, on the average, there are 100 billion stars. So you can imagine how many stars are there. 1 followed by 22 zeros. That many stars are there. And our sun is one among these large number of stars. Okay? And as we know, in the solar system, so many bodies, satellites, asteroids, all kinds of things, all of them are moving. Again, all these movements have been coordinated and arranged properly somehow or other, and then only our universe can be maintained. But suppose one of them gets shifted or goes astray, then the whole thing can collapse. But it's not happening. How is that? Usual scientists will say by chance, by accidental. But some are saying accident is an evasion of the explanation rather than confronting the issue. Then by saying that it's accidental, at least I get the impression that you are simply evading the issue. You are not interested in discussing it. So it's accident that happened. Okay. Anyway, so this is what I'm trying to say is new mysteries seem to be coming up. And this time mysteries are coming up not because of ignorance, but because we have knowledge, we have gotten knowledge. Scientific knowledge is always leading us to more and more puzzling issues. And there is absolutely no reason, on the basis of 400 years of history of science, there's no reason to think, to hope that these mysteries will go away. Each time one mystery is resolved, another one will pop up, or several will pop up. This is what is happening. What to say about it, I do not know, but I am amazed at it. I'm in wonderment at it, and so that is why I'm saying the mystery dimension is recaptured, and we need to here in this mystery dimension. 5 minutes, okay. In this recapturing the mystery dimension, the East can help, because East is much more open to this mystery dimension than others. And mystery dimension understood, when I'm saying mystery, I'm not taking mystery in the popular sense and in the negative sense, but in a positive sense, as inviting us to go deeper and deeper into our research, into our study. Okay. The second one is a mystical dimension to be cultivated. In the past, many, especially the scientifically minded people, used to look down upon the mystical dimension because the mystical dimension was too private, too personal, too subjective, irrational, and so it cannot be subjected to any objective, impartial, rational analysis and study. Hence, it was highly vulnerable to falsehood and can be very misleading. But today, this negative perspective is at least some extent changing. And for instance, many outstanding scientists, Einstein and many others we can give, were mystics, particularly in their most creative moments. Kepler, if in their very creative moments, they were mystics. Mystics again, as I say, mystics in a positive sense. They are mystics. And okay, the East can help in developing this mystical dimension. Okay, because I personally think that if this transformation has to take place, a new creation has to take place, much more than pure ideas is involved. You have to be touched by the divine, by the touched, and then you get transformed. Touched, and then you get transformed. And so this is my personal view. And some possible contribution these can make to science religion, that science religion, SRD, in the West has remained mostly issue-based. Very important. I'm not saying it is issue-based. It needs to become more experience-based. These can be of help in this regard, particularly through yoga and other yogic skills and techniques. How it can be done, we will have to explore further. And another thing is, science religion dialogue has been strong on the objective impersonal aspects and weak on the personal subjective aspects. This is very valuable when one deals with the physical impersonal matters. However, when the human person is involved, as I said, the dialogue, the meeting takes place at the level of the human person. The human is involved, the personal and the emotional aspects will have to be given their due place. These can make a contribution in this area, and thus a balance can be struck between the personal and impersonal, between the objective and the subjective. In the past scientific tradition, the dynamism of matter was neglected. In Newtonian physics, for instance, matter was dead stuff to be moved by external forces. Newton's matter was dead matter. And if you want matter to move, force has to be brought in from outside. Otherwise, it will not move. Leibniz, of course, opposed Newton in this regard. Leibniz had a slightly different view. The East, on the other hand, never ceased to emphasize the dynamism of nature and matter. And here Teilhard is, Teilhard always looked at matter as spiritualized matter. Okay, spiritualized matter, and he animated matter, as it were, Teilhard. And there, of course, Teilhard was very similar to some of the Eastern thinkers. Today's scientific developments are giving more and more evidence for the dynamism of matter. Quantum theory, especially, some of those new phenomena, which quantum theories have brought out, some of those peculiar phenomena. These phenomena are more or less telling us that matter is no more dead matter. Matter has to be dynamic, is alive, as it were. Okay, and here I think the East can help in developing this dynamic aspect of matter further. Okay, and it is often said, last one I'm making, it is often said that science is too cerebral, a matter of the head, and lacks a heart. Science and dialogue, as developed in the West, is inclined to give too much emphasis to the head dimension. The East can help in providing the heart dimension to a study. Okay, and so these are some of my thoughts. As I say, these are just matters of emphasis. I'm not saying that heart dimension is absent in the Western system. No, it is there, but East has emphasized it a bit more. Okay, and so one has got something. One emphasizes something more, and the other in some other aspects, the other one emphasizes something else. And so you see you find the emphasis shifting, or the emphasis, each one giving emphasis on a different aspect. So you have got different aspects being emphasized by the different traditions. And so if we can put these two traditions together, then probably we'll have a more enriched science religion dialogue. This is basically what I'm trying to say. And my conclusion simply is that we are living in a globalized world, a globalizing world, not a globalizing world. In a globalizing world, we want everyone to contribute. into a global movement. And science religion dialogue for me is a global movement. Everyone should contribute this. And people in the Western tradition have been doing wonderful work there, and they should be congratulated, they should be thanked for that, they should be encouraged to continue with that. But the other traditions also should work very hard and come up with ideas to enrich this whole movement so that we have a real transformation taking place there. It may take ages, I may take many, many years, but let it be. But let us start this process. And when we have done this, we'll have achieved a lot, and we'll have created a new humanity and a new world. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Father Joe. And because we're running short of time, but you can still take one or two questions. Right?
Yes.
Frank.
Very quick, could you comment on the dialogue between Chinese, Asia? People think of two great groups.
Yeah.
Chinese and the Indian.
Right, yeah.
The dialogue always seems to go through Europe and North America. What about the dialogue between China, Asia, both of which are science powerhouses now?
Yeah,
China
right.
and India,
Yeah.
which are science powerhouses.
Right. What you're asking is what contribution China can make. Is that what you're asking?
No, what about the dialogue between the two, India and China?
Okay. No, as far as I know, not much has been done. We have done a little bit with Korea. I have some interaction with the Sogang University. A couple of times I've come there. And Korea, little bit, but still not sufficient. With China, no, China is a little, this is the first time I'm coming this side myself, and I don't know whether others have come, I don't know. China is, slowly coming up. That's something to be taken very seriously. That's what I think what tomorrow we will be discussing, how we can, how we can bring about a dialogue between these two. That will be one of the agenda for tomorrow's meeting.
So that's a lot of work to do, yeah. We are in Taiwan, and then Professor Wu is there from China, so we could slowly think about some ways of working it together. And being an Indian and living in Taiwan so long, probably, yeah, Frank and I can be one of the people who can work through that, yeah. Right, thank you very much. And any other questions, Professor Carroll?
I was wondering whether you reflected on a kind of asymmetry in science-religion dialogue. One can talk about various Eastern religions and various Western religions and the like, but today, do we really talk about Western science and Eastern science? In other words, when talking about the dialogue, there is a sense, especially in a globalized world, there is a sense in which there are scientific standards, discoveries, and so forth, which are just that, scientific, whether they are made in China, India, Great Britain, or wherever. Whereas when you talk about a religion, there is still it seems to me, a notion of Eastern religions, Western religions, and the like, and that sort of asymmetry is an important sort of thing to keep in mind when talking about science-religion dialogue.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. It's a good point. There is asymmetry. Similarly, of course, asymmetry the other way also, certain things which religion is doing, which science doesn't have. There is asymmetry, no doubt. Although now, of course, if you speak about science in India, the Indian scientists will say, Indian thinkers will say, we have a science of our own, we have developed a science of our own, Indian science they call it. So there is something called Indian science also. And let me also mention that according to one school of philosophy of science, that what they call Weltanschauung worldview philosophers of science, they do think that when you people from different cultures do science, they do make a difference. In some ways, they do make a difference. Not to some extent that you can say it's Chinese science, Indian science, American science, maybe not be, but there are, it's not necessarily all of them do the same thing. It's that view that science has got, all these principles are absolute or universally accepted, that is being questioned very seriously by philosophers of science. Mm-hmm.
I think your response indicates another problem with science and religion dialogue, which you hinted at, that terms like science and religion are